So most of the people in this room already know how amazing Heather is, but if you have never worked with her one-on-one as a client, you're missing a piece. So you all know that I run several restaurants. I also am a political candidate here locally. I started a calendar website of events going on, and every one of these things, it has pretty much come up at 9 p.m. at night that I'm going to do that because I'm a restaurant person. I'm a night person. I call Heather. She always takes my phone call and goes, okay, here's what we're going to do. And she has a plan and she's ready for me. And she'll send me an email follow up with the 15 steps or 5 steps, depending on how detailed I've gotten with this plan of what I need to do so that she can get that website up for me. She's always a quick turnaround, has everything together, and makes me feel like I know what I'm doing, even when I realize I don't. So if you have not worked with Heather on a website or any of the wonderful things that she has added now that she's out on her own, such as somebody's ghostwriting some things for me, and you just don't even know what all she can do until you've had that one-to-one with her. So I encourage everybody to get to know Heather, and I'm super excited to see her presentation today.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that you could be here to give the introduction, because I feel like we've worked on a lot of different projects together, and it's something like sometimes if that first project goes sideways when you're working with a marketing company, you're like, we're done. But the second project could also go sideways. So you know that when you have a consistent relationship with a marketing person who doesn't drop the ball on you, you found the right team member. So today, thank you visitors and members for joining. 2023 Marketing Trends to Grow Your Business is what we're going to be talking about today. And I am Heather Pressler, Dr. Heather Pressler, the CEO of BlueHuki Group. We'll jump right into my presentation. So our agenda today, we're going to talk about old school versus new school. We're going to weave a business story into some of our hacks to success that we're going to go through today. I'm going to give away some of my tech secrets. Then I'm going to introduce the team. It seems like it's backwards order, but I think you need to know what we do and then meet the wonderful team behind what we do. And then how to make a great intro and what's next. So old school meets new school. Now, if this person looks slightly familiar, that is my dad wearing a Hawaiian shirt with a lei on. This was his first company that he started in Hawaii way back when. He lived there for 25 years. He was my first job. I worked for him in Seattle when we moved to Seattle, helping him with his marketing. And some of the things listed on the old school side were some of the things that I did for him. Now, don't get me wrong, being on the old school side doesn't mean it doesn't work, right? Or it isn't something that's still out there. It's just this is what we used to do versus this is some of the new things that are out there. So I actually used to write technical letters for my dad, and we would mail them in the mail to all of his clients to keep them abreast of changes. The Yellow Pages is now Google, but Yellow Pages is still out there too. Email marketing is kind of the update of mailing letters. Brochures, I used to talk about how websites were pretty brochures on the internet, but now they're living, breathing items. And actually, I'm a self-taught HTML web designer, and I built my dad's first website, his second website, and his third website's sort of been in progress for a while, but that's on my dad. So postcards, I guess, what's the equivalent of social media back in the day? Sending your friends postcards in the mail. Clubs, maybe clubs, memberships, things like that, networking groups. Print ads, which are still out there, but now we have digital ads as well too. Your professional reputation and your online reputation, which are two very different beasts when you're a professional out there in the arena. So we're going to talk about a example client before we got into BlueHuki hacks. So this is Dr. Expert. And if you look at her face, she's like, what is going on right now? And that's how I met Dr. Expert. This was actually my first client before she was even a client. She was my largest cosmetic dermatology client in our DC area. So she built this business 100% on word of mouth. So friends, family, etc. found her, but she could not be found online. However, she was completely flat as a business. So her business had not moved $1 in the 10 years that she had been running it. And she was ready for aggressive growth. She had several failed campaigns. So she once hired a PR person for $5,000 to $6,000 a month. That didn't do anything to move the number, but it was a lot of money, obviously. She had tried marketing here and there with different companies and just didn't see that needle ever move in her business. So it's not like she wasn't trying. I met her in the midst of a website designer fiasco. And if anyone's ever met someone with that, it is awful. It was supposed to be 6 weeks and $3,000. It was 9 months and $20,000, and still no website at that point. Could not be found online. competitors dwarfed her. So competitors that were not nearly as successful as she was as a business owner online, you could not find her compared to them. And then of course, with which every business owner is struggling with right now, she has staffing issues. So this is before BlueHuki came in to help. Now let's talk about some of the things we did for her, but some of the things that we also recommend for people today. So first of all, before we get into that, what is a hack? So by the definition of what MIT calls a hack, it is the design and implementation of harmless pranks, tricks, and creative inventions that demonstrate ingenuity and cleverness. If you don't know what this is, that is a fire truck on top of a dome at MIT. So hacks at MIT were like these feats of engineering that you try to get something on the top of a building. My interpretation of a hack in this space is doing what is believed to be impossible and making it possible. So the next part of these hacks is we're going to talk about our tech top secrets. And I think based on our conversation we had this morning, this quote is very apt. It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity, which is actually Albert Einstein's quote. And if you know anything about Albert Einstein's work as a scientist, we still are trying to catch up in experimental physics to prove his theoretical physics ideas out there. So he absolutely is the embodiment of what it means to be ahead of our time and not being able to catch up. So let's start with hack number one, which is your website. So as Sarah was also talking about, the website is where everything starts. So I'm using my website as an example just because I try to preach what I tell people. I try to do what I tell people, right? And I've circled a few key areas of my website. So one of it being having a consisting branding presence. So my logo, my beautiful photos that I have on the website. Another one is the technology that I use on the website. So you can see there's a text us button. There's also a chat button in the bottom as well too, with a real live chat agent. This is meant to make my business be 24/7. And this is something that I'm telling people often is what we want to do with their businesses. You need to be available at all times because, again, people are busy during the day. They need to make appointments after hours. And that free audit button right there is an online booking. So you can book with me at any time of the day. I don't have to be awake. I don't have to be at my email in order to schedule a meeting with me. So website tech secrets, and you will see that this is a familiar website, Sarah White. So this is Cowboy Cafe's revamped website. Now I talk about WordPress and Squarespace are the two workhorses that I recommend to people from platforms. They perform really well on the internet. And then as I talked about in my presentation, chat, online scheduling, as you can see, Cowboy Cafe's got order online, right? Pretty much every successful restaurant has to have some technology about ordering online. Tracking technology that you can put on your website is really important. Google Analytics, Search Console, and SEO tools all fill into that bucket of we want to see how you're performing, how people are interacting with your website, and we want to be measurable in the ways that we're doing activities on your site. Hack number two is Google. So this graphic is actually a little bit old, but what it's looking at in the light colors is the organic search. And we're looking at an organic search if you're number one, if your rankings 2 through 4, and if your rankings 5 or below. And what they've shown here is that if you add ads onto what you're doing from an organic perspective, these are the results you get. So if you're top ranked, you still could get 50% more leads from running ads. If you're kind of middle ranked on the first page, you could get 82%. And if you're bottom ranked, and this is just on the first page, 96%, right? So if you're second page and beyond, obviously the 96% number basically would apply to you. In other words, it's showing you it's not just about the organic rankings that you work on with a company like myself where we're doing content, but it's also about the ads that you add on top of it to become more visible. And there's a lot of different areas now to run ads. You run ads on the map, you run ads on the ad section where you probably remember AdWords. You run ads on images, you run ads on videos, you run ads on apps, right? So there's a lot of places that you could be visible or more visible as a business, even if you have a great strategy.
You have about 2 minutes left, Heather.
Thank you, David. Some of the Google tech secrets. So Search Console, Google Analytics, Google Merchant, for those of you in the e-commerce space, SEO tools, Google tags, and omni-channel ads are all of this is how you hack Google. You literally get yourself out there on all these different places. And depending on your business, we'll recommend what works best for you. Hack number 3 is communication. So as you can see from this graphic, it's about amplifying your message online. And I threw a lot of things into this bucket that are called communications. But this is an example of a Google search on myself, right? It's if you're building a brand as an expert or as a business, you want to know what your presence looks like online. And a lot of that has to do with being consistent on social media, using internal influencers. So if you are the business owner, you might be the internal influencer, external influencers, Facebook groups, alumni professional groups, YouTube, digital PR, which is some of the examples on here. Wikipedia page, which Sarah White was kind of referring to with ghostwriting. We're going to try to get her on Wikipedia. Awards and community involvement all go to who you are online and in person as a professional. But the question is, does this show up in search when you're searching for it? All right, so here is Dr. Expert. She is happy now because she is happy at what happened with the BlueHuki effect. So she achieved national rankings as a business. She grew her social media following. She got positive feedback, both in reviews, but from patients like, hey, I'm seeing you online. You're active. I'm finding you, right? Her number one source for leads to her office is now Google, when it was friends, family, etc. before. She has a 6-month waiting list. She's added 2 mid-level providers that are also both really booked at this point, and grew her business 30% year over year. If you don't know how difficult it is to take a business that's been in business for 10 years and grow it 30%, that doesn't just happen by luck, right? That is a winning strategy. That is a successful strategy. And certainly she's happy about it. Meet Team BlueHuki. I can barely fit us all into one page now. We're over 20 years of experience. We are mothers, military spouses, educators, writers, formally trained in marketing, e-commerce professionals, and all passionate about our clients. This is what makes our team great. This is Aubrey, Cherish, Andrea, Tiffany, Jess, Amanda, Cher, who's on the call, and Kim, who all make BlueHuki run smoothly. How to make a great intro. So if you have staffing issues, not busy enough, not happy with your marketing, these are all ways that you can introduce me to other people. And again, medical, dental, med spa, e-commerce, construction, food industry. Then you're looking at owners, office managers, development pros, IT, etc. Those all work with those people and can make great introductions to me. And if you're ready to get started, that QR code there goes to a free competitor audit and my calendar. So if you want to schedule with me, that is a great way to schedule with me at any time. 24/7, I'm available and would be happy to continue the discussion. Thank you, everybody.
Fantastic job, Heather. Thank you so much. I know